Alright, Trial Mob, as I mentioned before, at one point I was going to do a 1/12 toy news update, and the day has finally come. So we have some really badass stuff that's coming up, and I wanted to touch base on all of it. There's going to be a few episodes that are probably going to drop today because there's just a lot that I have to cover, but I will continue to do 1/18 scale stuff, but right now it's just a little dry. So I thought, what time better than now to start giving you guys some of this really badass stuff that we're going to be getting soon. Alright, you guys? So let's go ahead and get into it and break it down and see if maybe I can get a few of you 1/18 scale guys into this 1/12 stuff. Let's go ahead and break it down. Alright, Trial Mob, and now to set everything off for this new 1/12 scale segment, we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian and SH Figuarts, two of my favorite things in the whole universe. Now, here is some badass news. So, SH Figuarts is going to be coming out with the Mandalorian himself, or should I say the Mandalorian themselves. So we have Din Djarin on the left from Season 2, and then we have Boba Fett from Season 2, and oh my god, have I been waiting for this. Now, while at first glance I wasn't sure about Din Djarin, there are some differences because I do have the one from Season 1, and I wasn't sure if there was any real changes, but I'm going to go ahead and go over them. But that Boba Fett is absolutely a must buy, so let's go ahead and get into it. So when I first saw Boba Fett on screen, I fell in love with the fact that he did a full paint job. I like the fact that it actually went nice and clean. I know that a lot of people wanted him to be more of that scarred up look, but I'm not gonna lie, this is how I pictured him. This nice, beautiful green paint. And this figure right here looks like it came right out of the show. And I'm so happy that we ended up getting a cloth, I'm gonna call it a tunic around the bottom of the waist. I think that looks great. The weaponry looks awesome. This looks just phenomenal. This is gonna be a must buy for anybody that's a Star Wars fan, but even if you just want some kind of cool space trooper like figure, this is going to be one of the ones to get. I really like the fact that they gave him that tunic. I was afraid that they were just going to make him look let's not say generic, but a lot like the original figure, and I'm really happy that we got all these dark black colors and the tunic. I think it's a really good look overall, and they nailed it here in SH Figuarts. Now on top of that, he is going to come with effects the same way that the other Mandalorian did, the original Din Djarin, and as you can tell, it's going to be that rocket on his back. And now I'm not quite remembering what kind of pistol he comes with, but he does come with a pistol right there, and just like the Din Djarin that we got before, it's going to end up being a little bit different in the case that as the way SH Figuarts does it is instead of giving you a real holster, which I would wish they did, they end up giving you one version that has the gun in it and then one version that has the gun out of it, and then he would have the gun in his hand. So just something to note so that you guys know about that. Now, as you know, Boba Fett himself at this point in his life is a little older, and as you can tell, the chest, like the actual body, kind of like how they did with Thor when he was, a larger set character. They gave him just the slightest bit of a belly, but they didn't go too far with it, which I'm happy. But they did give him just a little bit more size around the waist, and I appreciate that. I didn't want them to try to make him some skinny dude. That's not accurate to what he looked like. I really liked his portrayal in the Mandalorian Season 2, and I'm happy that, of course, overall, this is looking just perfect to that. Now this right here is the absolute money shot. That looks exactly like Boba Fett, man. Like they really stepped up their game here. This looks exactly like the actor himself. And then this is a legendary scene right here where he is basically showing us, or you know what, I might be thinking about a different scene, but the chain code that he has there, that's just badass. The fact that they have this right here. Again, if you've watched the show, you know exactly where this is from. And it just blows my mind how good this looks. This is going to be one of those prized figures. I don't know if it's going to come before the end of the year, but if it does, this could very well be one of those figure of the year contenders. Now switching over to the Mandalorian himself, so there are going to be a few differences here compared to what we got before. So the big one is going to be that he actually comes with Baby Yoda this time around, and I do believe he's going to come with the spear. And now at first glances, when I first saw this, I thought, I don't know if I need this. I don't know if I care about Baby Yoda. This is basically the exact same figure as before. Maybe they've made some adjustments to that neck peg, I'm not sure, but other than that, it looks like the exact same figure, so I don't really think I need it. But then I got to see a couple of comparison photos, and that sold me. So first off, obviously being able to put him in some of these poses with Baby Yoda, this is a must. This looks great. But this is where I really start to get sold. So as you can see, 2.0 on the left, 1.0 on the right. So Season 1 on the right, Season 2 on the left. And you can tell that there are some immediate differences in quality, or should I say just on-screen accuracy. So on the right, the Beskar is a bit more lighter. The brown undersuit is a little bit more brown. And when we go over here on the left side, we definitely see that there are a few differences. So the metal looks a bit more darker, and I really like that. The undersuit is more of the like really dark, almost like a gray brown, and that looks way cleaner than the brown that we had before. And then on the knee pads, you can tell, or should I say the thigh pads, you can tell that they're both fully Beskar. We're on the right, they're two different colors. And then on the leg armor, again, there's a few differences in color, and I really like what we're basically seeing here on the left. I really think those differences are going to make a big change in the figure when you actually have them side by side. And then as you can tell, it does come with that Beskar spear, which if you guys remember, I talked about this before, maybe not on this channel, but amongst people, that I was super like hyped when I saw that he got handed the spear and then he handed it back, and I was like, no, hold on to the spear so that way then my Mandalorian figure next year will come with one. And here we are, full circle, he is getting it, and he does have a place to hold it, which is nice, though I don't believe you'll be able to hold that and the gun at the same time. But as you can tell, it's the same differences. The chrome color is different, and I really like the one on the left better than the more clear color we got on the right. And then of course the suit under being less of a brown color and more of like a gray brown, I think is a much better undersuit color. Looks a lot less cowboy and a lot more military, and that's what I like, especially the cape being black. Now this right here, money shot. This is, even if it looked like the exact same figure, even if they made no changes, I would almost have absolutely no choice but to buy another one of these because of this right here. We get Pedro Pascal himself, the actual Din Djarin, and we get a beautiful looking head. This is really what he looked like, and if anything, I think this actually looks a little prettier than what he looks like, but overall, that's a beautiful head sculpt, man. They really nailed the Mandalorian look. I think that this is going to be something that anybody's going to want to have, especially if you didn't buy the first one. This is the one to buy, because guess what, guys? We have no idea if season 3 is ever going to happen at this point, and I, just like you, would love to have one, but at this point in time, we don't know if that's going to be the case. So buy this one while you guys still have a chance. You're not going to regret it. Alright guys, I'm switching over to Buzzmod Aniplex from Demon Slayer. Shinobu Kocho. Now I remember this character. I do like her character a lot, but I will tell you, so Figma is doing these characters as well, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do Buzzmod or Figma, but it seems to be that Buzzmod is just on top of cranking these out at breakneck speed, and they are noticeably more expensive, about anywhere from $40 to $50 more expensive depending on which version you end up getting, because Figma usually does a slightly decontented version than a fully contented version, but you get soft goods with these ones. So you get a normal uniform under, and then you do get that is it a kimono, is that what they're called, that's made out of actual cloth on top. And to be honest, if I can get my hands on the original ones, I might be willing to switch from my Figma pre-orders over to these ones, because I do like the overall quality, and of course I do like the fact that you get a cloth kimono on top rather than getting the Figma version, which is just like a plastic overcoat, and it usually doesn't look as good, though it's not a bad looking figure at all. But as you can tell, she looks wonderful, and that kimono is done so nicely. Just the way it looks, the colors that are done all the way through, they're not playing around when they're selling you this figure, and I appreciate that a lot. Now obviously she's also going to come with her weaponry, but also she's going to come with some effect pieces, and it's really pretty looking overall. I know that this is her aesthetic. It's supposed to be kind of like wildlife, or the beauty of nature basically, and without a doubt they captured really nicely. Again, this is going to look really good when you have it in your diorama or whatever it is you're going to do with it. This is going to be a beautiful looking piece overall, and it's just a beautiful looking face. It's a really nice looking figure, and it's worth, I would say it's most likely going to be worth the price point, but I've never bought this before, guys, so I couldn't tell you what the actual end quality is like, what the plastic feels like. I couldn't tell you that. And then just to top it off right here, just to make sure you can see, this is what she looks like without the kimono on her. And this right here is what really sells me. The fact that you can get a nice clean uniform under, that you can, you know, the sleeves all the way down, it looks completely normal. And then you can go ahead and put the kimono on her, and then she looks like a completely different figure. And that's what sells it to me, and what sells really the extra price point. Now, maybe you are a fan of Golden Axe. I know that this is an older IP, and maybe you're not. Now, I never played Golden Axe 1. I actually played Golden Axe 3, and I am hoping that we end up getting those heroes, because I like those ones much more than the ones from Golden Axe 1 or 2. But in the meantime, we'll be getting the Dead Frame. So these two that we'll be getting, it's a 2-pack, just like we got the skeletons before that. Now, I might be incorrect here, but they're apparently 10 fucking inches tall. God damn, they're huge. and their price point is fairly low. And I mean, they're skeletons, right? So I mean, there's not that much plastic on them, but they come fairly well equipped. Obviously, there's 2 of them, and again, they're absolutely massive. Even if you aren't a fan of, let's say, Golden Axe, but you just kind of want some characters to use to fight with your guys, or against any of your other Storm Collectibles stuff, maybe your Mortal Kombat stuff, whoever, I think this is not a bad way to go. These look really badass. And I was afraid that they didn't stand upright, but no, not a problem. They stand up perfectly fine, which is probably where they get the full 10 inches tall. Just so you imagine, Goro, I believe, is about 11 inches tall. So if you have Goro next to this guy, he's only maybe a head taller. So that's how big these guys are. And of course, here we have a nice view for the backside. Again, I really like how much detail we get in all the bones. There's a lot going on here for what's fairly a cheap price. I don't know if we're ever going to see what these guys would look like if they actually had flesh on them. I don't think they ever showed that in Golden Axe, but this is a really good look overall. And I imagine that the posing, especially because it's a skeleton body, is actually going to be pretty fire. You're going to get a lot out of the body. The dead frame does come with his weapon, his shield, and a host of different hands. So again, not bad at all. Not too much to it, but enough that you're really going to enjoy for the price point and just absolutely how large these guys are.